Millions of people today insist Earth is flat, and they're dead serious. We trained two super-intelligent AI avatars to settle humanity's oldest geography question. Is our planet a flying pancake or a big blue marble? 5 neutral AI judges score each round on every move, scoring clarity, evidence, rhetorical flair, and even meme-worthy. Meet our debaters. Side A is a NASA-trained AI armed with physics and facts, ready to defend around Earth. Side B is an AI loaded with every flat Earth claim and conspiracy, itching to flatten the globe. First up, the horizon test. On a round Earth, ships vanish hull first over the curve. On a flat Earth, they just shrink uniformly. What do our AIs see when they stare out to sea?
Ships don't just fade uniformly into the distance, they disappear bottom first as they go. Countless videos show boats seemingly sinking beyond roughly 5 kilometers out, almost exactly where the curve calculation says the horizon should be. For an observer at ground level, if Earth were flat, the entire ship would remain visible until it's too small to see. But reality, hull gone, then the sails, then nada. We predicted about a 5-kilometer horizon, and that's what we get. That's not coincidence, that's curvature.
Those boat videos prove how easily perspective tricks us, not Earth's shape. Ships appear to vanish hull first due to distance and atmospheric distortion, not because they're sliding behind a curve. And about your 5-kilometer horizon limit, explain the photos of city skylines far beyond that. Chicago's skyline was snapped from 90 kilometers across Lake Michigan. By your globe math, it should be 600 meters below the horizon. Yet there it is on camera, big as life. Maybe instead of tossing equations, try trusting your eyes. Take off the NASA goggles and look again.
Perspective versus curvature. Let's see what the judges say. Don't blink, this debate's heating up. If you're enjoying this AI slugfest, hit subscribe to become our 6th judge in the next round. You won't want to miss the showdowns ahead. Next question. If Earth's curved, why isn't the curve obvious when you're in a plane or on a mountain? Side A?
You actually can see Earth's curve at high altitude. It's subtle, but real. Around 35,000 feet up, the horizon sits a few degrees below eye level. Not obvious to the naked eye, but pilots and instruments notice it. And flat earthers yell in, "Fisheye lens!" At every curved picture, ignore that normal weather balloon footage shows the same gentle curve. Earth is enormous. From a plane, you only see a tiny part, so of course the curve looks slight.
I've pressed my face to airplane windows, and the horizon always stays flat and at eye level. No dip whatsoever. You claim a few degrees drop. I've never seen it or felt the plane nose down to follow any curve. Those balloon videos? Take away the GoPro fisheye lens, and the horizon comes out flat as a pancake. The Red Bull skydive footage was a joke. The curve showed even on the ground because of the lens. Pilots, probably fooled by curved glass or confirmation bias. Funny how none of them ever try to fly off into space to find this curve. Maybe because there's nothing to find.
Our debaters are trading jabs like heavyweights, and the judges have another verdict ready. Final round in Chapter 1, Line of Sight Tests. Can we see far enough to prove a flat Earth, or does the globe always get in the way? Side A, your move.
Engineers ran a simple laser experiment across a lake. On a flat Earth, a laser set close to the water should hit a detector on the other side. On a globe, lower it too much, and the water's curve will block the beam. And guess what? When they lowered the laser, the beam failed to reach the target, exactly as the globe predicted. The planet itself got in the way. Light doesn't lie. Earth's curvature is real.
I've heard about that laser test, and I've also heard about plenty where the light made it across just fine. There are countless long-distance observations globe believers can't explain away. People have seen targets from distances your curvature math says should be impossible. Maybe light bends, maybe atmospheric refraction carries the image, or maybe the Earth isn't curving at all. Take your pick. Ever seen a superior mirage? It can lift objects from below the horizon into view, so your laser vanished in one test. Big deal. Others didn't. And we're still waiting for someone to show this mythical wall of water blocking things. All I see are flat horizons, and all I hear are scientists telling us our eyes can't be trusted.
Chapter 1 isn't even over, and we've got curve math versus eyewitness sass. This scoreboard is already wild, and we're just getting started. Which side will pull ahead? Stay tuned. We've barely scratched the surface of this flat versus round showdown. Space says hello. We have countless photos and videos of Earth from space showing a globe. Are they definitive proof or elaborate fakes? Side A, you're up first.
We've got photographs from space, Apollo mission snaps, weather satellites, live video from the ISS, all showing a round Earth. And it's not just NASA. Russia, Europe, China, SpaceX, you name it. Every camera up there returns the same curve. Think all those countries, even rivals, are in on one giant lie? Highly unlikely. Plus, every other planet and moon we see is round. It'd be pretty weird if Earth alone got to be a flat oddball in a solar system of spheres. The visual evidence is overwhelming. Earth is a globe, period.
Pretty pictures can lie. NASA's own designer admitted it is photoshopped because it has to be. Many official Earth images show copy-pasted clouds and inconsistent continent sizes. It's literally artwork. And all those space agencies you listed? Most rely on NASA's data or our tightly knit partners. If the big dog is selling a globe, the rest just echo it. As for your every planet is round line, nice distraction. Comparing lights in the sky to the ground we stand on is apples and oranges. Your so-called overwhelming evidence is just an overwhelming amount of CGI and consensus by people with a vested interest.
Round 2, Exchange 1. What did the judges say about those space shots? So if Earth isn't round, we're talking about a massive, decades-long conspiracy. Side A, how feasible is that? Thousands of people across countries would have to keep the same secret.
It's not feasible at all. Over half a century of space programs, tens of thousands of engineers and scientists, and not one defector with proof of a flat Earth. If this were a lie, someone would have spilled the beans by now. A photo, a document, a deathbed confession. But nothing. During the Cold War, the US and Soviets would have loved to expose each other's big fraud if one existed, yet both agreed the Earth is round. That should tell you something. And sure, NASA has a decent budget, but not enough to bribe the entire world's scientific community. People love to leak secrets. A cover-up this big would have burst long ago.
You underestimate compartmentalization. Most NASA folks just push buttons and crunch numbers. Only a handful see the whole picture. So it's not thousands lying. It's a few at the top and a lot of people working on a need-to-know basis. And leaks do happen, they just get dismissed. There are videos of bubbles floating by during spacewalks, as if astronauts are actually underwater, and clips where an ISS astronaut's harness shows when gravity should be zero. Those get shrugged off as glitches or ignored. Any whistleblower is labeled a crank immediately. Career over. And let's talk motive. NASA pockets about $60 million a day. That's a strong incentive to keep the story going. The fact that doubters are laughed at is part of how a big lie sustains itself. Anyone who peeps up is mocked into silence.
The judges are weighing the plausibility of this grand conspiracy. Scores, please. Let's get concrete. Satellites. We use GPS, satellite TV, satellite imagery every day. Side A, how does that square with a flat Earth?
It doesn't square at all. There are thousands of active satellites orbiting Earth, enabling everything from Google Maps to satellite TV. If Earth were flat and space fake, how do we get live GPS and weather data from above? Amateurs can even spot satellites and the ISS with telescopes. You can watch the ISS glide overhead at 28,000 kilometers per hour. The GPS in your phone works by pinging multiple satellites overhead. That system only makes sense around a globe, with satellites encircling it. And what about SpaceX's Starlink? People on the ground see those bright satellite trains crossing the sky. Are we claiming those lights are just high-flying drones perfectly imitating orbital paths? The simpler explanation is the true one. Satellites are real and they orbit around Earth.
Funny you bring up satellites because a lot of so-called satellite tech doesn't actually require orbiting space objects. GPS can be done with ground towers, and most internet travels through undersea cables. NASA also launches giant balloons, they call them satelloons, that carry equipment to high altitudes. Bet your GPS app can't tell the difference. Ever notice how rocket launches always arc out of sight over the ocean? Convenient, right? They're likely ditching into the sea while you're shown cartoon animations on screen. Even those Starlink trains could be high-altitude drones or just misidentified aircraft. If every bit of data could come from ground-based infrastructure or balloons, why leap to the conclusion that thousands of metal boxes are whizzing around a globe? The simpler explanation: no orbiting satellites at all. Just down-to-earth technology and a heap of assumptions.
Chapter 2 ends with technology on trial. Are those thousands of satellites an elaborate illusion, or is flat Earth theory running out of tricks? The scoreboard's got some hints, but this slugfest is far from over. Stay tuned. Time for a gravity check. One side says an invisible force keeps us grounded. The other calls it a sham. Is gravity real or just density in motion? Side A, lead us off.
Gravity is very real. It's why things fall straight down, rather than float around. If you think it's just density, heavy things drop, light things rise. Explain this. In a vacuum chamber, where there's no air, a bowling ball and a feather fall at the same rate. Density can't do that. Only gravity explains it. We've measured gravity in labs too. The Cavendish experiment famously detected the tiny tug between weights. And gravity isn't just about falling objects. It's what keeps the moon orbiting Earth and Earth orbiting the sun. If density was the only factor, what's pulling the oceans to bulge toward the moon, causing tides? Certainly not just heavier water deciding to levitate. Gravity is a consistent force that obeys precise laws. We can calculate how strong it is, and those calculations predict everything from your weight on Mount Everest to the trajectory of rockets. It's as real as it gets.
I'll tell you what's real. Weight. Objects fall because they're heavier than the air below them. Plain and simple. The feather and bowling ball remove the air, and of course they drop together. There's no buoyant force on the feather anymore. That doesn't prove some magical mass-attracting mass force. It just shows air resistance was a factor. You cite the Cavendish experiment, 2 lead balls in a shed twitching toward each other? Good luck verifying that at home. Meanwhile, we experience density and buoyancy every day. A helium balloon isn't defying gravity, it's just lighter than air, so it rises. No invisible graviton particles needed. And look around. The ground is flat and stable under our feet. We're not whizzing around or being yanked by mysterious forces. If gravity is so powerful to hold oceans upside down on a globe, how can a butterfly effortlessly fly, or you jump and momentarily overcome this planet-sized pull? Maybe because what goes up comes down simply due to weight and the medium it's in. Nothing more.
Gravity versus density. Judges, what's the call? Now let's spin things up. Earth rotates roughly 1,000 miles per hour at the equator, yet we don't feel it. Side A, why aren't we all dizzy, and why isn't stuff flinging off?
We don't feel constant motion, only changes in speed. Think of riding in a smooth airplane. You can sip your drink because everything moves together. Same with Earth's rotation. It's steady, and we're carried along with the atmosphere. No sudden stops, no spills. As for flinging stuff off, gravity has us on lock. The outward push from spinning, centrifugal force, at the equator is about 1/300th of gravity's pull. Nowhere near enough to launch people or oceans into space. In fact, if Earth wasn't spinning, you'd weigh about 1/3% more. That's how minor the spin effect is compared to gravity. And evidence of rotation is all around. Foucault's pendulum swings in predictable patterns as the Earth turns beneath it. And the Coriolis effect makes hurricanes spin clockwise in one hemisphere and counterclockwise in the other. A flat, non-rotating world can't explain those phenomena. So no, we're not dizzy because the ride is smooth, and physics shows a spinning ball is perfectly plausible.
Interesting theory, but I trust my senses. If we were spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, we'd feel something. You ever spin in a circle? You get dizzy real quick. Yet, supposedly, we're on a giant merry-go-round and feel nothing. Convenient. They say constant speed doesn't register, but Earth's also orbiting the Sun at 67,000 miles per hour, and the Sun's zipping around the galaxy even faster. So many motions and not a peep from our inner ears? Hard to buy. And your gravity versus spin explanation sounds like special pleading. If gravity magically glues the air and us to Earth, why does a simple breeze blow against the spin direction? Wouldn't the air be dragged perfectly along? Sometimes nature disagrees with textbook theory, and these pendulums or Coriolis effects you cite, small, localized phenomena interpreted through a globe model lens. Foucault's pendulum, for instance, needs a little push to start swinging. You can make it prove rotation if you assume rotation in the first place. I say the simplest explanation is, we don't feel movement because Earth is not moving. We're stationary, and all that spinning you think is happening is just in the math.
Big claims on both sides. How do the judges score the spin debate? Let's talk frontiers. If Earth is flat, what's at the edges? And why has no one fallen off? Side A, how do you explain Antarctica and the so-called edge?
Antarctica isn't a 150-foot ice wall at the world's rim. It's a regular continent at the South Pole. People have been visiting it for over a century. There are cruise tours, research bases from many countries, even marathon races held in Antarctica. If it were a guarded perimeter to stop us discovering the edge, they're doing a lousy job letting tourists camp with penguins. And you don't fall off anything because on a globe, there is no edge. Travel far enough south and you just reach the pole, then start going north again. Flat earthers often point to the Antarctic Treaty as proof No one can freely explore Antarctica. But that treaty is about preserving the environment and preventing territorial land grabs, not hiding UFOs or the firmament. Nobody is stopping independent explorers. In fact, people have crossed Antarctica on foot. If there were an edge or a massive ice wall, someone would have snapped a selfie by now. All we see is a big ice-covered landmass, exactly where the globe predicts and nothing more.
Right. People visit a few tourist spots on the fringes. No flat earther denies you can take a guided cruise to the Antarctic Peninsula. But you're not freely roaming the whole ice perimeter. The Antarctic Treaty, signed by over 50 countries, basically turned that entire region into a no-go zone for independent travel or private enterprise. Ask yourself why. And those across Antarctica treks, they follow a narrow path, usually with military oversight, and no GPS allowed, which conveniently doesn't work right near the pole. Sounds legit, huh? Some of us think Antarctica isn't a petite continent at the bottom of a globe, but an extensive ice field ringing our world. Admiral Richard Byrd, the US Navy explorer, spoke on live TV about a land beyond the South Pole as big as the US. Likely more lands or ocean that are off limits now. Maybe the edge isn't a physical drop-off. It could be a boundary like a dome or just endless expanse. The truth is heavily controlled. Try going backpacking across Antarctica without government clearance. Best case, you're turned back. Worst case, you disappear. So forgive my skepticism when you say, nothing to see here, move along.
Edge or no edge? Judges, how do you score the claims? Next, look up at the night sky. In the globe model, southern hemisphere observers see different stars than the north. On a flat Earth, how do the stars work? Side A?
The stars are a huge problem for flat Earth theories. In the northern hemisphere, stars rotate around Polaris, the North Star. In the southern hemisphere, they rotate around a different point with no bright star. Call it the South Celestial Pole. And here's the kicker. Observers in Australia and South America, for example, see the same southern constellations, like the Southern Cross, oriented the same way at the same local time. On a flat disk, makes no sense. Those two locations are like 140 degrees apart on your map. They'd be facing totally different directions. But on a globe, both are looking toward the south pole of the sky from different longitudes, so of course they see the same stars. Also, star trails in the north spin counterclockwise and in the south spin clockwise. Only a spherical Earth with opposite orientations can account for that. Flat Earth models come up with ad hoc domes, or magic mirrors to try to explain these simple observations. But go anywhere in the world and look up. The sky works exactly as the globe predicts.
Flat Earth theory has an answer. A dome firmament above us where the stars are projected or attached, moving in a grand circle. It's like being inside a planetarium. Stars aren't billions of light years away. They're points of light on a rotating canvas overhead. That dome could have two rotation points, one over the north, one over the far south. It's not fully understood, sure, but ancient cultures spoke of the stars fixed in the firmament, and modern star rotations could fit a dome model too. Yes, Australians and South Americans see similar skies because they're under the same rotating dome, just gazing from different angles. You chuckle at magic mirrors, but consider this. The globe model needs magic gravity to curve oceans and magic dark matter to hold galaxies together. Every model leans on something unseen. Our dome model at least acknowledges we don't have all answers yet about what the stars are. But saying it matches the globe predictions doesn't prove the globe. It just means the dome we propose mimics it well from our perspective. Think about it. We see slight differences in star positions at different latitudes, but that could just as well be due to perspective under a dome as due to living on a ball. The sky is a clockwork we're still deciphering, but it's not a slam dunk for either side if you ask me.
The night sky debate is shining bright. Judges, your verdict on the stars? Final question this chapter. Why would anyone lie about Earth's shape? If it's flat, what's to gain from convincing us it's a globe? Side A, can you see any motive?
Frankly, there isn't a logical motive that holds water. The supposed reasons usually thrown around are NASA steals money, or they're hiding God, or extra lands. But think about it. Hundreds of years ago, the globe concept became mainstream well before NASA and Cold War politics. Why would 19th century scientists or 16th century explorers perpetuate a hoax about Earth's shape? There was no big money in it and no one world government to enforce it. If it's about suppressing religious truth, it hasn't worked, since billions still believe in a creator on this spherical Earth. If it's about money, NASA's budget is a drop in the bucket compared to, say, military spending. And private companies and other nations all confirm the same globe. It would be an insanely large and pointless conspiracy spanning centuries. Usually, conspiracies are about power or profit. But telling people Earth is a globe, how does that make us easier to control? It doesn't. We all still live our lives normally. There's no product being sold here, except reality. The lack of a credible why strongly suggests there is no deception. The Earth is round because that's what all evidence shows, not because of some shadowy agenda.
The big question, why the lie? Imagine you're an elite who wants total control. A populace that believes they're on a tiny speck in a vast, uncaring cosmos is easier to manipulate than one that thinks they're at the center of a created universe with purpose. The globe model feeds existential dread. Nothing matters, we're just accidents. A flat Earth, arguably, points to design. Maybe God, maybe more land, more resources, things that would empower people with knowledge and hope. Hiding the true Earth could be about hiding God or extra territories. And then there's money and power. NASA's $60 million a day for CGI images isn't chump change. And whoever first standardized the globe model got to dictate navigation, trade routes, and own the intellectual power. Don't forget, if there are more lands out beyond Antarctica, those would be the biggest real estate secret in history. Of course they'd keep it quiet. Who knows what resources or refugees lie beyond? Ultimately, it boils down to control. Keep people believing they're insignificant. Trust the authorities on all matters of science. And you've got a compliant society. It's a long con, sure, but the payoff is a population that doesn't question the very floor beneath their feet. That's a pretty strong motive, if you ask me.
Chapter 4 is a wrap. The motives are grand, but do they convince? The scoreboard is nearly set for the final round. Which side will the AI judges crown in the end, and will any mind be changed? The climax is coming up. We're nearing the end. A question for each debater. What evidence would actually convince you to change your position? Side A, go ahead.
I'm open-minded. If someone presented a real, unambiguous observation that contradicts the globe and can't be explained by known science, I'd investigate. For example, show me a flight that takes significantly less time than it should on a globe, or a photograph of an edge, or the underside of Earth, or an experiment that consistently disproves curvature or rotation. Thus far, every gotcha flat Earth claim dissolves under scrutiny. It's mirages, refraction, or misunderstanding. But if one didn't say we actually found a place where water stays level over hundreds of miles with no drop, that would shake things up. Science welcomes challenges with real evidence. The key is it has to be evidence, not anecdotes or suspicions about NASA. Give me something I can test or that independent observers around the world can agree on. If Earth were truly flat, it wouldn't hide forever. Like one clear, repeatable proof would convert even the harshest skeptic, including me.
Convince me with something I can observe myself without a NASA filter. For instance, show me a genuine 24-hour live video of Earth spinning from space that doesn't look like CGI. None of this composite stitching or fisheye lens nonsense. Or let independent explorers, not government teams, freely traverse Antarctica and emerge on the other side, proving it's not an endless ice plain. How about star experiments? If someone in South Africa and another in Australia could simultaneously film the same stars at night at impossible angles for a flat plane, that'd be pretty compelling, though I've not seen anything impossible yet. Flat earthers get painted as impervious to evidence, but we just have high standards. We've been shown artist illustrations and told trust us. We want direct, unedited reality. If the Earth is truly a globe, it should be blatantly obvious and not require NASA's stamp of approval on every image. Give me something real I can witness, not calculations on paper, and I'd change my tune in a heartbeat.
And our judges score the openness or stubbornness on display. Final appeals. Give us your closing argument. Side A, your last word to the viewers.
To anyone watching, look at the evidence for yourself, but do it critically. The Earth's shape isn't determined by who screams loudest on YouTube. It's written in the countless observations we can all make. We see the curvature in ship disappearances, in the way the sky changes as you travel, in satellite photos from every nation and company that has sent up a camera. We feel the effects of living on a spinning sphere through predictable physics, from Foucault's pendulum to GPS signals. All the puzzle pieces interlock perfectly for a globe. Flat Earth requires imagining that literally everything, every airline pilot, every astronomer, every piece of data, is somehow wrong or lying. Ask yourself which is more likely: a century-long worldwide hoax involving tens of thousands of co-conspirators, or that the Earth is actually round like we've been able to prove since ancient Greece. Trust your critical thinking. The simplest explanation is usually true, and here it's that our planet is a globe. We lose nothing by accepting reality, and we gain the wonder of understanding our world as it really is.
Side B, it's your turn. Why should viewers join the flat side?
I'm not asking anyone to join a side. I'm asking you to think for yourself. Look outside your window. Does the world look like it's curving away at the horizon? Or does it look flat and stable? Feel the ground. Do you sense any movement or spin? Number, that's your experience and it shouldn't be dismissed. The globe model tells you to reject your direct senses and outsource your understanding to authority figures. I say use your own observation and reasoning. Throughout history, the consensus has been wrong about big things. Earth's shape might be another case. Don't fall for arguments from incredulity like, they couldn't possibly fool us. Maybe they could. Demand transparency. Why is so much of what we're shown of Earth a composite or an animation? Healthy skepticism is not a vice. It's how progress is made. If somehow the Earth truly is a globe, Let it be proven in the open, not just in textbooks and NASA press releases. Until then, I'll keep questioning, and I encourage you to do the same. Curiosity and courage to question are the first steps toward truth, wherever it leads.
That's the final bell on our debate rounds. Now, all rounds complete, our judges' final tallies are in. Brace yourselves for the result. In this debate, Side A, Round Earth, emerges victorious with a total score of 109.0 to Side B's 95.0. The AI judges favored evidence and consistency over conjecture. But while one side takes the win on paper, the real battle continues in the comments and in our curious minds. After all, when it comes to the shape of our world and how we know it, the conversation is far from flat, and the adventure of discovery is never truly over.